Greetings, people. It is Monday, the 9th of October now. I thought I'd go ahead and, since this camera seems to be, it's a better quality camera. My other camera had problems with some of the colors when I would wear different stuff, so I'm wearing a different sweater today. Cheers, people. First taste of the morning. Let's see how it came out. Pretty good. Pretty good. It's weird. It's always the same, but it's never the same. So, follow up on yesterday. I unashamedly am going to continue talking about my new album, Interlude. I'm taking a tip from Stephen Wilson, and for any person that might be thinking, well, you're no Stephen Wilson. That's not the point. I'm a person that makes music, and I'm out here and trying to get people to listen to it, just like Stephen Wilson. Stephen Wilson has been on the internet every day since the release of Harmony Codex, which I still don't have a copy of. I hope they arrive in Omaha today or this week. Every day he's saying something, doing something to keep the Harmony Codex in people's attention. You know, he wants you to know about the record, and the way to do it nowadays is to keep talking about it because there's so much going on and things change so quickly. This looks good, doesn't it? Like, for example, The Muse. I put out that CD, The Muse, earlier this year. It almost seems like it was lifetimes ago. So much has seemingly happened and things just change and turn over so quickly. That was this year. It seems like it was lifetimes ago. So I won't be doing a download code today. I thought people understood that a download code is only good for one download. And so, like, as a person who uses Bandcamp, when I make one of your tools available to you is to create download codes. So I can create a lot of different download codes, thousands actually. It was nice to see that. I think people are interested in the music, or is it that you just want something for free? I won't always do this, but I like that effect of the light. I do. That's nice. I love the morning light. It's 8 in the morning, 8:30. So if you don't realize this, folks, all music on Bandcamp is streaming. You can listen to it online. So you already have it for free, actually. So that's why I'm pushing for buy a physical copy if you can afford it. If you're in a place where you can. I got some digital downloads yesterday. They all went to Bandcamp because it's not Bandcamp Friday. I don't know how many I would have to get before my share of a download comes to me. But the ones that people bought yesterday, including one person just bought Sunday Feel, I don't get any of that money. But you get the music. I do want you to have the music. I want to sell these, so I'm going to keep talking about it, whether you like it or not. Okay, so I need to do this because I want to show the records. I did play some music yesterday in spite of my ears. Yes, I do understand that there's no cure for tinnitus and that I just have to deal with it. Some days are louder than others. Today is a little less than yesterday. So I'm living with it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So what did I play yesterday besides reviewing that new piece of mine, which is just, I'm going to take my time with it. Like I do. It's like some things come together quickly and other things it's like, well, that's an idea and we'll get back to it. I recently showed my Durutti column collection Hadn't played any since then, but this yesterday all the way through. Obey the Time. Vinnie Riley, very unique guitarist, excellent guitarist. Unfortunately, a man with really bad health. You know, always very skeletal. And I guess he has a real hard time eating and has a real nervous system. He's an example of a guitar player that shows you the truth of the primary place that tone comes from. I don't know if it's primary, but it's, yes, I'll say that. You know, I may be wrong, but that's my experience. The main place that the tone comes from in a musician is his hands and how he interacts with the instrument. I've already talked about how many famous guitarists, no matter what guitar they play, it sounds like them when they play it. Jeff Beck being a good example, Vinnie Riley another. Whatever guitar he plays, that tone it's in his hands. I also know it personally. You know, I get good bass tone. I can get a good bass tone out of a really cheap bass. I credit and thank my parents for that. Am I still obsessed with slow dive? You can say that. It's just that it's starting to, you know, I get to a point where it's like, okay, it's time to, the magic is there. My cup is full. It's, you know, it's like it's really, really enriched me. So what I played yesterday, I can't show because I only have it on the computer, is an album by Wire that I don't have on physical. Project 47, I think is the name of it. I looked it up because I like to have their records. Object 47. But this particular album, I guess, is one of the rare ones to get because it can't. It's going for money. I have most of their other albums. I'd like to have that one. Okay, here I also played this yesterday all the way through. Wandermüde by Stephan, Mathieu, and David Sylvian. Wandermüde. I love these graphics. Are those hazmat gloves? That's what they look like. They almost look like space mittens, but they're probably hazmat gloves. This is on clear vinyl, and as I listened, you know, I listened for anomalies and whether or not this was a clear vinyl situation, and it's not. It's very, very quiet. David Sylvian mostly strokes the guitar on here that I can hear, but it really works. And it's an ambient sort of streaming sort of feeling to the music. I got through 4 sides of that real nicely. It sounded great. Really interesting. David Sylvian's an interesting man. This is one I pulled yesterday. I wanted to show something online, and I never got around to playing it, but I'll show it because it's out. Jonesy, Keeping Up. Prog rock from the early 70s UK. This one to me is spotty. I have 2 of their 3 albums. I think they have 3 albums. Partly the deal is this is one of those covers that I remember seeing all the time back in the day and always wanting a copy because I liked that graphic. So when it was reissued and I finally had a chance to get it, I did. So I'm happy to have it. It's not one that gets getting played a whole lot. Okay. You know, when I bother to comment about current events or anything, it's like I don't want to talk about it with people. I have a right to say what I'm thinking. I'm sitting here in Omaha, Nebraska, in my house. I can't do anything about the madness. That's what I call it of the world. But I don't have to be quiet. I can say something if I want to, and if it triggers somebody, that's just too bad. All I'm doing is talking. You know, from my perspective, war is just more war. War doesn't lead to an end of war. It's chaos. And I hate how the media all of a sudden That's all that's being talked about. That's what I don't like. And we can't do nothing about it, but we have to sit here and just be assaulted. And is anything going to be settled or made right by anyone regarding these international affairs? No. So it's frustrating to see and to. So I can say that if I want to, okay? I ain't no damn politician. I can't do nothing to nobody. I can't hurt nobody. I'm just talking. Seems like people are just so quick to get upset or offended or mad because somebody said something they didn't like. Take a damn chill pill. So again, a little bit of shop talk. For people who are just joining me and just finding out about my channel, please watch some older videos. I know there's a lot, but what I'm saying is, like when people say, "Oh, have you heard of? Have you heard of?" I didn't show it, most likely. Like someone asked me about Dixie Dregs. Come on now. It's pretty obvious that I know about good music and good musicians. I've shown Dixie Dregs. Do I listen to them nowadays? No. Are they in the collection? Yes. Why? Because when they happened, when they first came out, it was like, oh, a little Southern Fried fusion. This is interesting. Really good players. That guitar player, real good. Morse is his name. Was in Deep Purple for a while. So yeah, I got that. I know about it. And then someone suggested Gong. Oh boy, you need to watch some videos. I got big history with Gong, including my interview with Pierre Moirlin of the original Gong that I did, a year or so ago. I have a playlist. I have a playlist on my channel. Take a look. I have a playlist for the interviews I've done. He's one. Check it out. So along the lines of me always checking stuff out, last night I listened to Sound Opinions on NPR and the show that comes before it. I forget what it is, the World Cafe or some kind of shit. And I heard something on there that was interesting for a change. I don't know that I'll buy this, but I'm trying to pull it. Genesis Obongyar, I think is the fellow's name. Genesis Owusu. I checked out. He was the guest on Sound Opinions, and I liked his stuff. It was like, yeah, this is different. A lot of what I hear on the mainstream musically, I'm tired of. So, like for example, they played something new by Cat Power where she's covering Dylan, and then I hope I don't sound like a hypocrite. I love people, but I really am not interested in hearing the fact that someone is really emoting about the same old stuff. That's why I like instrumental music. And the stuff that's steeped in traditions like blues, country, and gospel, I'm so tired of that stuff, you know. I really am. I think I'm permanently tired of it. So stuff that, like, for example, real young people who are playing old style R&B and stuff like that who have a good sound, I don't care. Good that the tradition continues, but I'm not interested. I'm interested in what I'm interested in, and I like sharing it with you. And basically, off the beaten path is what I'm interested in. Let me see if I can make a fool of myself and pull some more records and maybe. Oh, let's see. I was there. I'll go over here, down by the residence. We'll go down by the residence. Let's see what I got here in this pile. There you see some residents. It's just some. I got a bunch of residents. Love the residents. Don't play them like I used to. Historically, very important to my development. Very important. Here is something on the Warp label that I keep that I need to come back to this because it's sample heavy, and I thought that this is okay, but I was able to get these used. So the artist is, I think, let me see if I can see it from this spine. REQ, Rec Sketchbook on the Warp label. See, this is something to explore for me. It's like I've listened to so much music that when I hear a lot of the traditional forms, it's like I'm kind of like, okay, I know what it's going to do, so I'm already done. I do listen to some stuff like that sometimes, but mostly I'm interested in being taken somewhere else. Here's another one. Car Paint Scheme. REQ, Rec. Warp is an interesting label. Of course, it's trying to stay afloat financially. Oh, so I guess I did get the resident. So everything else here is resident. So I'll show it. You have to find stuff that is more commercially viable, that sells like the 4AD label. Originally out of England. I think it's based in America now. I'm not sure. But when it changed ownership, slowly its character changed, and it's nothing like it was. I still check out 4AD because of its history, and they have been putting out some, for my opinion, crap. It sells, but it doesn't have that essence rare, as Gang of Four said in that one. I found that essence rare. 4AD used to have it. Overall, that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's what strikes me in music, is that this has that essence rare slow dive. For maybe someone else, when I say that, they'll say, oh no, it doesn't, not for me. But when I say that essence rare, that slow dive is a perfect example of what I mean for my taste. Here is a fairly recent addition to my Resonance collection, which means I've only had it a couple years and I haven't played it very many times. Snaky Wake. A tribute. Music performed by the Residents to honor Snakefinger. If you know about the Residents, you know about Snakefinger, the British guitar player who ended up being one of their inside people, like Fred Fripp. I got to see Snakefinger in concert in Lincoln. Got to go backstage afterwards and hang out with him and Eric Feldman and the rest of the band. Eric Feldman, who has been in Per Ubu and Captain Beefheart. I was able to give Snakefinger a copy of my Norman and the Rockwells EP. I loved to do that when I could. He was real cool to hang out with. I ran into him at the Mole Show, the Residents Mole Show. I went to that. The second time they did it ever in San Francisco. The first time was in LA. I took a bus out to San Francisco. I love the Residents. And Snakefinger was in the audience. I ran into him and he remembered me. He said, oh yes, I still have your record. And what was that, Norman? He even remembered the fucking name of the record. Stuff like that, the geek in me, those are the things that happen that have so much value to me, and I love sharing it with you. They're memories that are golden to me, It's the part of the whole music trip that I've wanted, is to make the connection. The Tunes of Two Cities, this came out right around the Mole Show time. And they explained it's like the second part of the Residents Mole trilogy, which started with Mark of the Mole. I love this stuff. It's kind of goofy, but it almost sounds like music to, that housewives would listen to it making breakfast. That's what I love about the Residents. It's like they're bizarre, but they're actually a very accurate portrayal of the weirdness of American culture. Violinist Fats, the movie that they never finished. I have all the Residents, not all, but most of their DVDs, and there's one where they show you almost all of what they had done of the film back in the 70s. They were really way ahead of the curve with respect to how creative they were with so little. You can see where, I mean, they're making these costumes and props with whatever they can afford to make it with. And really bizarre and really effective. That's good stuff. Here's one of my favorite albums. Not just by the Residents, but just in general. Not available. I have 2 copies of this. This is an early pressing. They have pressed so many editions of their records. It's hard, you have to get out that dead wax and shit. So this is not our first run. This is probably a second or at the latest a third run of the album. Not available. If you haven't heard that, this would be a good, well, I don't know if it's a good entry point, but boy, this is definitely what the Residents are about. And this is a gatefold German pressing copy that I found. I said, yeah, I got to get that. Fingerprints, the first record by the band that I ever bought. This is an early pressing. I know that. I've had this a long time. Fingerprints, again. Look at the cover. That intrigued me and was kind of creepy too at the same time. And this, nowadays they couldn't release this now because of the fragility of the political framework. Third Reich and roll. Dick Clark with a swastika. People would probably lose their shit if this came out today. And this is really fantastic. The way that it uses, it's before sampling, and so one of the ways they get a loop is a record that has a skip in it, and they just use the skip. It's brilliant. This shit is crazy. I love the Residents. Their first album, Meet the Residents. They even had the balls to put it out, mocking the Beatles, Meet the Beatles album. I don't need another copy of this, but I wouldn't mind having one with that cover. This shit is dope. Now here's one that's misfiled. It comes after the Residents. It's RES, Rescue 1. This is an interesting album. Movie Viewers Rescue 1. I cannot remember exactly what this sounds like, but it's a double groove. In other words, okay, this is with Robert Crash and Otto von Ruggins. This is something kind of experimental, but it's a double groove, which means you put the needle down, you'll catch one groove, put the needle down again, and there's another. There's like two sides on one side of the album. That's kind of cool, but I don't remember what it sounds like though. That's out of order. I gotta get that straight. Eskimo deconstructed, and here is Eskimo. This is an original on white vinyl. The Residents are something else. When they made this album about Eskimo culture and creating the sounds using the emulator, it's amazing. It is. It's just, these guys are nuts and nutty people. And we still don't exactly know who they are, except Hardy Fox probably is one of the Residents. He passed away. He was one of the representatives. Wouldn't be surprised if he was an actual member. Performing music from Mushroom, a dance performance. This is more recent in 2013. They haven't lost it. They're eternally interesting. Last thing I pulled was PAL TV. Something from PAL TV was released to commemorate the availability for the first time ever of a 60-minute video cassette through Double Vision. This is on red vinyl. Okay, people. Okay, I'll get with you. So, well, that's a real important part of my collection right there. And folks asking silly questions, come on now. You can answer the question yourself. It's not about how many times you listen to a record. That's a fucking Yeah, I get a little irritated. It's a library. It's not about how many times you listen to stuff or does you ever listen to everything. It's about having access, and also it's part of my personality. This room is part of my personality. I do enjoy sharing it with you. Okay, so again, please don't be offended by me being a human being and saying what's on my mind. I'm just talking to you. Okay, and rather than ask me questions, well, I mean, it's like if you ask a question, I might answer it, I might not. Chances are, if you ask me, have you ever heard of? The chances are the answer is yes. I haven't heard everything. How can anyone? But I've heard and checked out a lot. So watch some old videos. And get this. This is very good. I know I've made a world-class recording. I'm not interested in all of the energy that I used to put in sending out physical copies of my records and trying to chase reviews and public. I love it, but it's a lot of work and it's too diffuse now. What with blogs online, I don't even know who. I've gotten some airplay. I did actually contact the local FM station because they have a local show. They ought to be playing me. Let me see if I can get that going. So by necessity, people, I have to talk about me and my music, or you'll just forget about it. It's one of the best records to come out this year. And I made it. And I listen to music. So I'm not speaking biasedly. It's good. It has to be. It had to get past my bullshit detector, okay? Y'all take care. Family, if you see this, I love you. Take care, people.